Lewis Hamilton was one position away from the podium in Belgium, but the real reason he missed it was far more serious than the 5-second penalty. His collision with George Russell damaged the Ferrari so badly that Hamilton said he could not turn the car. Then, during the pit stop meant to fix it, the release light turned green while a mechanic was still working. Hamilton accelerated, the mechanic was knocked down, and the crucial front wing adjustment was never completed. But even that was only the visible problem. Hidden underneath was a weakness Hamilton had warned Ferrari about before the race even began, and it turned one mistake into an unstoppable chain of failure. Subscribe to the channel. Friday should have been the moment Ferrari proved it had finally turned a corner. For a few hours it looked that way. Hamilton was immediately fast. He finished close to Max Verstappen in the opening practice session, then moved to the top of the times in the second. Charles Leclerc was also near the front, and inside the Ferrari garage the mood began to change. This did not look like survival. It looked like an opportunity. After weeks of questions, pressure, and uncomfortable comparisons, Ferrari suddenly had a car that appeared capable of challenging the fastest teams at one of the most demanding circuits on the calendar. But Hamilton noticed something the timing screen could not fully explain. The Ferrari was quick over one lap, yet it was losing something vital before the lap was even finished. On Spa's long straights, the car was running out of electrical energy too early. That matters because modern Formula One cars do not rely only on the engine. They also use stored electrical power to create an extra burst of speed. Imagine a phone showing enough battery when you leave home, then suddenly dropping into low power mode when you need directions most. That was Ferrari's problem. The car still moved quickly, but the strongest part of its acceleration was fading before the braking zone. Mercedes and McLaren were carrying more speed for longer, in exactly the places where Hamilton needed to attack or defend. And at Spa there is nowhere to hide that weakness. The straights are long enough to expose every missing piece of performance. A small loss at the beginning becomes a larger loss by the end. A driver can exit a corner well, position the car perfectly, and still watch the rival ahead pull away. But this was only the first warning. The deeper concern was that Ferrari was also struggling in the second sector, the part of Spa where the car has to change direction quickly and remain stable through demanding corners. Hamilton said the general balance of the car felt good. That sounds positive, but the lap time told a different story. The Ferrari could feel predictable in the driver's hands and still be slower than its rivals. That is one of the most dangerous problems in Formula One. When a car feels terrible, the team knows where to begin. When it feels reasonable but the stopwatch remains disappointing, the answer becomes much harder to find. Hamilton was losing time on the straights because of energy deployment. Then he was losing more time through the technical middle section. One weakness attacked Ferrari's speed. The other attacked its cornering performance. And together, they created a car that could produce an impressive lap in practice, while still carrying a hidden limitation into the race. Leclerc's Friday made that even clearer. He had been near the front in the opening session, then fell to 11th later in the day. The same Ferrari that looked competitive in one moment appeared far less convincing in another. That sudden change suggested the car was operating inside a very narrow window. When everything lined up, it could look dangerous. When one detail changed, the performance could disappear. Tire temperature, track conditions, fuel load, or a small setup adjustment could move Ferrari from the front group to the middle of the fight. And Hamilton understood the risk. He told the team they needed to study the data overnight. The goal was not simply to find more speed. Ferrari had to decide where it could afford to lose the least. Should the car be adjusted to protect itself on the straights? Should more performance be aimed at the second sector? Could Ferrari improve one area without making the other even worse? These were not comfortable decisions. Every setup choice involved a trade. More speed in one place could mean less control somewhere else. More stability through the corners could create extra resistance on the straights. Protecting the tires could reduce the sharpness Hamilton needed over a single qualifying lap. Ferrari's Friday had created hope, but it had also revealed the trap. The car was fast enough to raise expectations. It was not complete enough to control the weekend. And before Hamilton ever made contact with Russell, before the penalty, before the pit stop failure, the foundation of his Belgian Grand Prix was already beginning to crack. What happened on Saturday would turn those hidden weaknesses into something far more dangerous. Saturday was supposed to provide answers. Instead, it created the first visible sign that Hamilton's weekend was beginning to slip away. The final practice session had barely settled into its rhythm when Hamilton lost control at Faines and hit the barrier. It happened at the same section of the circuit where Pierre Gasly had also crashed the previous day. That detail immediately raised the tension. One accident can be dismissed as a driver pushing too hard. Two accidents in the same area force everyone to look more closely. Was the track surface changing? Was the corner catching drivers out? Was the wind moving the car at the worst possible moment? Or was Hamilton's Ferrari already becoming harder to trust than the Friday Times suggested? The source does not confirm one single cause, but the consequence was clear. Hamilton's car was damaged before qualifying had even begun. For a driver, that changes everything. A crash does not end when the car stops moving. It follows the driver back to the garage. It follows the mechanics as they inspect every piece. It follows the engineers as they compare the repaired car with the setup they intended to use. And it follows the driver into the next high-speed corner, where confidence matters as much as grip. Hamilton had already told Ferrari that the car lacked energy on the straights. He had already identified the second sector as a weakness. A normal pit stop at Spa costs a large amount of time because the pit lane is long and the cars on the circuit are traveling quickly. Then a virtual safety car period created a strategic opening. Under a virtual safety car, every driver must slow down. The race does not stop, but the entire field moves at a controlled reduced speed. That means a pit stop can become less expensive compared with stopping under normal racing conditions. Ferrari saw the chance. Hamilton could serve the penalty. He could receive fresh tires. And the team could adjust the front wing that had been troubling him since the contact with Russell. This should have been the moment when the race stopped getting worse. Instead, it became the most dangerous and revealing moment of Ferrari's afternoon. Hamilton entered the pit lane and stopped in front of his crew. The 5-second penalty began. The mechanics waited. Only after the required time had passed could they touch the car. Then everything moved quickly. The tires were changed. The crew worked around the Ferrari. One mechanic positioned himself at the front right area to complete the wing adjustment Hamilton needed. This was not an optional detail. It was the exact change intended to make the car easier to drive after the collision. Then Hamilton saw the release light turn green. For the driver, that signal means one thing: go. Hamilton accelerated, but the mechanic had not cleared the car. He was still working near the front wheel. The Ferrari moved forward and knocked him to the ground. For one frightening moment, the sporting story disappeared. The only question that mattered was whether the mechanic was safe. Hamilton asked immediately, was he all right? The team confirmed that he was. Only then did the next question emerge. How had the car been released while a mechanic was still in danger? Hamilton's response was direct. The light was green. That matters because the driver cannot see everything happening around the car. From inside the cockpit, visibility is limited. The driver sits low, surrounded by bodywork and the protective structure around his head. He cannot reliably track every mechanic near the front wheels. He depends on the release system. Red means wait. Green means leave. Hamilton followed the instruction he was given. The failure came from the coordination of the stop. Somewhere in that process, the signal to release the car arrived before the mechanic had completed his task and moved away. But the incident created a consequence that was easy to miss. The mechanic did not finish the front wing adjustment. Ferrari had used the virtual safety car to create the best possible opportunity. Hamilton had served the penalty. The tires had been changed. But the one correction that could have helped the damaged car was left incomplete. Hamilton returned to the circuit with the same fundamental handling problem. The front of the car still lacked the response he needed. The steering still demanded compromise. The collision with Russell was no longer simply an incident from the opening lap. It had become a permanent feature of the race. That is the point where Ferrari lost control of the situation. The initial mistake belonged to Hamilton. He had not left Russell enough room. The penalty followed. The wing damage followed. But Ferrari still had a chance to reduce the consequences. The pit stop was that chance. Instead of containing the problem, the team allowed it to continue. And now Hamilton had to fight with a car that was difficult to turn, weak in the second sector, and short of energy on the straights. Every lap required adjustment. He could not enter corners with the same confidence. He could not rely on the car to rotate cleanly. He could not recover easily on the straights. And he could not return to the garage for another complete reset without losing even more time. The race had become a test of damage control. Not only for Ferrari. For Hamilton himself. He had to change the way he drove. Brake a little earlier. Protect the front tires. Avoid asking too much from the damaged wing. Choose where to attack and where to accept the loss. This is one of the hardest things for a driver to do. The instinct is always to push. But when the car is damaged, pushing harder can make the problem worse. The front tires begin to slide. The temperatures rise. The grip fades. And the driver loses even more control. Hamilton had to find speed without crossing that line. He had to remain aggressive enough to recover positions, but careful enough to prevent the Ferrari from becoming undrivable. And somehow, despite everything, he stayed within reach of a major result. That is what makes the next part so important. The race looked damaged beyond repair. The podium appeared lost. Yet Hamilton kept moving forward, and with only a few laps remaining, another damaged car appeared in front of him. This time it belonged to Oscar Piastri. And that final battle would reveal just how much Hamilton had managed to rescue, while also showing exactly what Ferrari had thrown away.